Lehi and his family coming over from the Middle East, Jerusalem, in fact, would have faced, as I see it, quite a bit of different problems as they came into the New World. They're coming into an area that I would think, would be quite foreign to them. Different kinds of plants, different kinds of animals. Their challenges would have been obtaining food and probably learning what types of animals are going to be dangerous to them and how to defend themselves before they could start building up their towns and then cities. There certainly would have been reptiles that they would not have been familiar with, and they'd have to learn which snakes were poisonous, for one. And even things that weren't poisonous, when you get into some of the constrictors that, can kill people too, they had to be aware of those. Jaguars would probably have been the largest of the things that would have been of danger to them, but there are smaller cats, the ocelots and others that, at least for the children and things, that could have been a real danger. There's certainly wild goats, wild sheep here, both of which could have been domesticated.
Nephi describes that they found animals of all kinds, including the cow and the ox and the horse and the ass.
As far as animals, some are easy to domesticate, some are not.
Some people think because the Jaredites did bring those kinds of animals with them, and the Jaredites were still flourishing when the Lehites arrived, that they would have found some of these, and perhaps didn't mention contact with other peoples who might have in fact had them.
I'm assuming just like when the Pilgrims came, they relied on the Indians to be able to get their food and how to survive in a new area, so I see a parallel there. And I think they would have gained useful knowledge from who was already there that was familiar with the area. What plants were good, what could not only be used for food but for medicine, which would have been important, I think. What animals are dangerous, which were good for food, how do you catch them? They would have found horses here, which are, for the most part, fairly easily domesticated. The earliest horses in the world are known here in North America. Most of the record is in North America, and it wasn't until later, geologically speaking, that they got into the Old World. Same is true of the camel. Cureloms and Cumoms, and I don't think we know the pronunciation, to me must have been a transliteration. These were animals that Joseph Smith had no knowledge of. It does say that they're very useful for man.
We've all been curious about Cureloms and Cumoms. And my hypothesis is, the best guess for me is llamas and alpacas. And the reason is because they're domesticatable.
They're extremely useful. I've looked at what the llama is used for. It's camel-like, but he wouldn't know that, as Joseph Smith wouldn't know it as a camel. In fact, anybody now looking at it probably doesn't really realize it's a type of camel. The hair is used for the fine hair for using for fabrics. The coarse hairs are used for cords and ropes. They're a food source, usually as jerky. In fact, this goes back now a couple of thousand years that they've got record of, knowing that the llama was used in this regard.
These two, llamas and alpacas, that are highly domesticated and highly useful. So it just seems to me that they are good candidates.
During the time of Lehi, the llama was most likely in Mesoamerica. Going into the latest Pleistocene and maybe a little beyond, they're even found in the southern part of the United States.
When all the colonizing groups arrived,